What's up, guys? We are back. Fitness Profit Multiplier, Anthony and Jimmy. Today, we have a really banger episode for you guys. We're going to be talking about how Jimmy and why Jimmy fired this employee and basically turned him around, kicked him in his ass, and sent him on his way right out the door. Guys, sometimes we have to do it, but these stories are priceless, and they're a big learning lesson too. So, Jimmy, let's get on with the story, man. I'm sure everyone's waiting to hear why you fired this guy.
Yeah. So, little backstory. At this stage in my business, I was hungry for a new employee. I really needed some help at the facility. I had one full-time employee and myself, and we were running a gym of we had 110 members at the time, and it was just the two of us. And so I needed another employee. So just so happens this guy applies for the job. He wants to get paid for intern credit for his university. So he's at university getting a degree. The guy seems like, he's a power lifter. He seems like he really understands programming, really understands everything. Seems like a good guy. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll take this guy on. Did great through his internship. And then the first writing on the wall was his culminating project for his internship. It was supposed to turn into me, turned it in late, and it was incomplete. And I was like, that was the first red flag right there. Okay. Not that doesn't happen. Things like that don't happen sometimes with individuals, but it was the first sign to show me that maybe this guy wasn't right. And we'll do the whole backstory, and Anthony, you can chime in as we talk through this because I'm going to set the whole thing up. Okay. So bear with me.
Go ahead. So
as we're getting into our employment relationship, I actually fully hire the guy on as a full-time staff member. He starts working for me, and then I notice these different things that he does where I'll ask him to do something and he'll do the opposite. Or I'll ask him to coach a certain way. And then once I'm out of the gym, one of my clients will inform me that he's coaching back the way that he was coaching before. So prime example was, if you guys are listening to this and you're powerlifters or Olympic lifters, you'll understand what we're talking about. But I told this individual, we don't use hook grip in the gym. Right? And then he teaches one of my world record holding power lifters hook grip when she's never hook gripped before. And I specifically told him not to coach that. And then once I left the gym, he coached it. Once I left the gym, he coached my other members and changed their programming. Right. So he wanted to run the show, constantly talking to me about needing to get paid more. Every time I turned around, he's like, I need to get paid more. Every time I turn around, he's like, we should change this about the gym model. We should change that. And it started to turn into this thing that I had some respect for this individual when he first came into my facility, but then it became he was trying to run the show and call the shots and all this stuff. So all these red flags coming up. At a certain point, I didn't even want to come into my own facility because this employee is who I had working for me. Okay. Do not let your employees hold you hostage. That's the one lesson from that. You have the ultimate control. And this was my second employee I'd ever hired, right? This person was somebody I did not understand how to manage people very well at this moment. But the kicker, so we'll get to it. The real kicker was I didn't have a defined reason to let this individual go, right? At that point, I was like, well, there's this red flag and that red flag. And, I didn't do a good job of documenting it. I didn't do a good job of evaluating his performance. So I didn't have a good reason to fire him. It's not like he showed up late to work. It's not like he didn't train the client. It's not like he didn't do his job. He just was not following protocol. But one random night, I get a weird inkling to sometimes you get that feeling. I got this feeling where maybe I should check the security camera. One random fateful night, I say, let's check the security camera. Pull up the security camera on my phone, and lo and behold, I see this employee that we've been talking about this whole time with 6 rolls of toilet paper and 3 rolls of paper towel, scooping them all up and walking out my front door with them after he closed the gym for a shift. Right on the security camera, red-handed. And sometimes you may think, oh, why would you fire somebody over this, right? Would you fire somebody over this? And believe you me, I did the next day. And the firing was a funny story too, because we go into the office and I go, and I saw something on the security footage they didn't really like very much last night. And he goes, oh, you talking about that toilet paper and the paper towel? Oh yeah, sorry I didn't run that by you, man. Sorry I didn't run that by you, man. What he says to me directly. And my response to that is, no, I'm gonna need your keys now. And it was done, and he flew off the handle, and it was this whole mess at that moment. Told me how bad of a manager I was, told me that my business didn't make any sense and it wasn't going anywhere and all this kind of thing. And now we're doing this, helping other gym owners actually grow their business. So I fired an individual who had a lot of red flags because he stole toilet paper and paper towel from my gym. And it's just a funny story because you steal a guy you fire a guy for stealing toilet paper. And this wasn't during COVID, he was stealing toilet paper either. So it wasn't in high demand. It was just something that he thought he could get away with, and acted as if it was totally fine and it was normal and stealing was fine and normal. And the reasons why you let somebody go, and there are a lot of reasons why I let him go in that situation. The reasons why you let somebody go that does something that seems insignificant, like stealing toilet paper, when you catch them do it, is because once somebody steals one thing from your facility, takes from the pot, you don't know what else they're capable of at that moment. And it's a showing of character for somebody to do something like that. I know for a fact, nobody on my staff right now would steal anything from my facility. They tell me all kinds of stuff. Like one of the guys on my staff the other day said, hey, I ran out of the gym for 15 minutes between sessions to grab a snack. And so you want me to like not track that on my timesheet? I'll just like make sure that it's not tracked on there. And he didn't have to tell me that. He didn't have to say anything. I wouldn't have known. But he checked in with me because it's important for him to show that he's trustworthy, right? So why you fire somebody, and this is a lesson to all gym owners listening to this, new or old, it doesn't matter, right? You have to have standards that you hold people to. And when times are rough, because this was a rough time in my gym, I needed another staff member. I had just pulled myself out of session so I could sell more. I needed a body in there to coach people. And I had to just, boom, let this guy go because it was a cancer. It was a toxic thing in our gym. It made me hate my job just because of all the things this guy was doing leading up to this point, but then really showed his character at that moment. And it's one of these things that you have to have standards, have those things set up, and learn from them over time. It was something that I learned a lot from in that moment, what my standards were, who I would let into my facility and who I wouldn't, and how I would manage these individuals. So if you're going through a rough time with a rough individual and they did something more than steal toilet paper, because we've heard horror stories of people stealing like thousands of dollars from gyms, stealing tons of clients from gyms, right? This was minor in comparison to those situations. But if you're going through something where you feel like you're struggling and this and that, just know that hold to your standards and hold to your convictions. And in the end, it will work out in your favor. That's really the lesson from this situation. But it's kind of a funny one. I fired an employee because he stole toilet paper.
I think the thing that I like the most about the story is that when you called him out on it, he flipped out.
Yeah.
Like, dude, really? I mean, you're stealing. And if you're stealing one thing, who knows what else you're stealing? And at that point, would you be stealing clients? Are you going to try to steal clients from me? Like, what is going on? Like, that's crazy. But guys, it just goes to show you that, you know, if like Jimmy said, he summed it up perfectly. If somebody's doing something that minuscule, and listen, I'm sure that if he would have said, hey, man, look, I don't have any toilet paper or paper towel at home. Can I take 2 rolls? You know, I really need 2 rolls. I'm sure Jimmy would have given it to him. So it's not even the point that he did it. It's the fact that he took it knowing that there's a camera, walked out the front door, and then when you said something to him the next day, oh, yeah, you're talking about the toilet paper? Like, he knew exactly what you were talking about. Crazy. So, guys, this is one of the things, too, when it comes to being a good leader is focusing on, okay, as a leader, what am I going to tolerate and what am I not going to tolerate? And that is a cancer in your business. And for a lot of the reasons what he was talking about. But, yeah, that's just crazy. And I'm sure we all have our stories, and I will tell some of my stories at a later time. But, guys, if you like this kind of stuff, just let us know. Leave us a comment below. Hit that like button, subscribe. And if you want help on any of this stuff and grow your gym to 7 figures and beyond and have more freedom and profit, click those links below. And until next time, Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier, we are